everybody, and welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Ryan. This evening, Jocelyn is not feeling so well, and she's resting. She's resting up. She's at a different inn, getting some rest. I was going to say she's in this inn, but no.
She's just upstairs, man.
She's just upstairs in our inn, and she's like, she wants us to keep it down. So it's going to be a relaxing, quiet show today. And joining me for said relaxation time is Josh. Josh, welcome to the relaxation hour.
Why, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Just keep talking.
We're gonna try to take it down a little,
Everybody just think
today on the Late Night Gamers Inn.
Warm and fuzzy and massages and eggnog. I'm drinking eggnog. Or what are you drinking?
Monsters. Yes, right? So festive.
Like literal. Well, it's green or red.
White,
White?
actually. Yeah, it's the zero. Wait, sponsors. I'm drinking, and it's delicious.
Wait. I don't get it.
Gives us money, then maybe I'll say Boop's name over the.
I mean, we talk about different products on the show.
Come on.
What is it? White Monster? Like, what is that? I guess it's snow. You don't get much snow in Florida. What's the flavor of white?
It's the 0 calorie one.
Oh,
So
okay.
0 sugar, 0 calorie.
That
Doesn't mean it's healthy. There's 1,000 things in Monsters that.
Well, yeah. But so is tonight like a big party night? Like you don't work tomorrow, so you're like, I'm gonna stay up late.
I work at 4 p.m. to midnight tomorrow, so I can't fall asleep too early. So I'm gonna stay up all night playing video games.
All right. Speaking of video games, what's on the docket for tonight?
Docket?
Yeah, the docket. What's on your little ticket that you've printed out as to your itinerary for this evening?
I was debating a lot of things in my mind, but I think I'm gonna go KOTOR because Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, I'm getting a Jedi itch, and I have an account for the Old Republic, the online one, but I don't know, man. I think I need that old time story. I grew up with KOTOR, and I think it's gonna happen. I'm gonna search for a mod to update the graphics to help the eyes a little bit, because
the eyes?
Xbox graphics, man. They were something different back then.
It was. I remember KOTOR being a groundbreaking Star Wars game when it was released, and it's kind of unfortunate when you look at the current slate of Star Wars games, and that it is literally marketing tie-in, like with Disney Infinity and the many iOS games out there. And it's just unfortunate. And I mean, there was a news story just recently about how LucasArts is looking at, has not thrown away the concept that is 1313, sort of the, what was it? It was more Uncharted-ish type Star Wars game.
Yes, it was a much darker kind of focused on a bounty hunter side of the universe.
And I was really excited when they said that they're still looking at a way to make it work. And I think that's exciting for those fans who really enjoyed KOTOR. And I know KOTOR and a lot of the older BioWare games have been getting a lot of awesome pedigree from modders, like just giving it a boost to the graphics.
Yes.
Was it KOTOR 2 that did, or was it KOTOR 1? I thought KOTOR 2 was the big modded community. Like they modded a whole ending to it,
I believe that was KOTOR 2. Because one of the ending was one of the reasons people are like, oh, come on, it just kind of ends. But I think that was because it was rushed in development. So I know that was the heavily modded one when I was growing up. But I think both of them have updated graphic mods. I just got to find it.
Yeah, I know Jimmy in the chat room is saying KOTOR 2 had the modded end, which is good. And I never played KOTOR 2. I played the opening probably 10-15 hours of KOTOR 1. I don't remember an awful lot about it. I love BioWare games and I love their RPGs, and I'll pretty much play anything that they RPG, So I'm interested to see what your take is on playing a game. I have a real issue going back to older games unless they've been touched up in some way. That's just that's just more me. I think not being able to like play. I obviously I grew up with those games and I played through those games when they came out. But I think 3D graphics. Let's face it, they haven't. They don't age well.
Right.
And KOTOR came out in a time when 3D graphics. Not many of those games stand out. I think the only game that I can think of that stands out from that generation would be Super Mario 64, and that's probably pushing it as well. But what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I felt Halo was
Halo,
probably
yeah.
one that I felt like really did a good job on graphics because it was from the same era.
Yeah, Halo stands out well, especially Halo 2, considering it's a later
Yes.
on in that generation, but also from that generation. Yeah, I agree with you there. Halo's a solid one. I mean, KOTOR might be a solid one as well, and maybe with those modded graphics, it'll get that
Yeah.
punch that it deserves. And
Yeah, I booted it up for like 5 minutes and I was like, I love this game. I'm going to play this game, but we really need to do something about these graphics because you can tell it wasn't meant for Windows 7, which is what I'm using. So like it crashes if you turn on some of the cool stuff. So I'm like, all right, it's a little rough. We're gonna work on this. I've got all night, but we're gonna find a mod that lets me turn this sucker on and be like, let's get some Jedi going.
I'm looking at screenshots here in Steam, and the game, I got to give it some credit. It looks a lot better than I remember it looking.
Well, a lot of those screenshots, though, are the updated graphic mods.
Oh, are they? Did they not touch it up at all, like when they re-released it?
If they did, I didn't notice.
Was it strictly to give it like a, hey, we're gonna make sure this works on your Windows 10 on your updated, or is it literally from 2003?
No, I think it was a, hey, this is probably going to run on your updated system, but they didn't do much for the graphics. But if you go into the Steam community page and you look at the screenshots, those are the updated mod graphics. Because just launching the game, it does not look that good at all.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at the community, and
Yeah.
I always play this game with the community mod. Like, how long does it take to get to something that has nothing to do with KOTOR, and is certainly fan art? Yeah, I haven't hit it yet. This is a lot of interesting things they have here, and the graphics. I think you're right. They're better than what I remember. Like when I picture that generation, I just picture like really shitty looking polygonal graphics.
Yeah.
But these are really good. And I know it's a solid game and a great story, and it's one of the. It's like saying like, well, Ryan, why do you go back and play Ocarina of Time every so often? It's like, well, that's the gameplay is king with those games, and I'm sure with the original KOTOR, I had a friend who just ate it up, loved it, and played it multiple times. So he was big into KOTOR. So I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts as you explore that world again. Did you beat it when it originally came out?
Yes, I played it several times.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I absolutely love Star Wars. So to have a game that's like, hey, you can be a Jedi, but you can be your own Jedi. You're not playing Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. You're playing like your dude making your decisions. So,
and you could be good or bad. You could have like a red lightsaber or a blue lightsaber. I think you could even design your own lightsaber, right?
yes, you can find different color crystals. You can make it double bladed. You can carry 2 single blades. It was the first time for me that I was like, man, I'm not just participating in this universe. I'm actually existing within it, So
Yeah.
I fell in love with it at an early age, and it's held a place in my heart ever since then.
So the question that next pops into my head when it comes to KOTOR is the elephant in the room, and you already mentioned it, which was SWTOR. SWTOR. I don't even know what it stands for anymore.
Yeah.
What is Star Wars? The Old Republic.
Yes.
Yeah. So not Knights of, because you could play many different classes. I haven't played that game since launch. I think our first 3 or 4 episodes of The Gamers Inn had me talking about SWTOR and how it's going to be the next big MMO. It's Star Wars. How could it be bad? And I mean, it wasn't necessarily bad. It didn't I don't know, it didn't fill that hole that WoW had left when WoW was in downtime, right? I know for a lot of people they enjoyed it. So have you popped back into SWTOR to see if that would like scratch that itch?
I did about a month ago, but I'm doing the free to play, and like as everybody will tell you that's played it recently, that's a really restricted way to play it.
I heard, yeah.
But it did scratch that Star Wars itch I had when, all the trailers were dropping for the new Star Wars coming out. And I was like, okay, I'm going to play a Star Wars game. I want it to be updated graphics. Let's boot up, SWTOR, see how it is. And to be honest, I like it. I like the fact that it's an MMO where all the quests are voiced and stuff. It's a pretty neat kind of little addition into it. Lightsabers and blasters. I love the whole thing.
I've been thinking about getting back into SWTOR, and every time I say that out loud, someone says something like, "What? You've got enough games to play. What are you, stupid? Don't do that." And it's like, you're right. I am not stupid. Therefore, I should probably go play older games that I've had. I miss having a game that I could play while listening to podcasts. I'm so behind on my podcasts that I just need an MMO for like a month so I can catch up. I think that's what I'm going to do.
That's why I have these games that I go back to. Like I have Fallout 4 and Starcraft 2, and these are games that just came out. I'm loving the heck out of them, but I don't know. Tonight I was like, I love Fallout 4, but I don't want to think about, I have to do this quest. I have to go here and make sure da-da. And StarCraft 2 is fun, but it's all about micromanaging and macromanaging. I want a game that, I do know the story, but I have fun with it. It's a relaxing, good time. I can pause it when I want to, so it's not an MMO. So I was true. Let's bust out some lightsabers, boys. Let's do this.
It is certainly handy to have a pause button, and I've been experiencing that lately with Dragon Age Inquisition. It was my game of the year last year.
Nice.
And like BioWare, as is tradition for Canadian game developers, for BioWare, as is tradition, they have this like steady stream of DLC, and they try different things with each title. With Mass Effect 3, it was just that game was so vividly watched by the gaming community that anytime DLC was released, it was either pinpointed as something that was cut from the original game or addressing fan issues like Citadel.
Right.
So that DLC always felt kind of like, I don't know. I don't blame BioWare for this, but I think it's just the gaming community that kind of like, put a stink eye on it. Like, what are you doing, BioWare, giving us more content? Yeah. So when Dragon Age started having their content, they did it in an interesting fashion where they released a pack in March, which was a new region to explore and to quest in. Really enjoyed Jaws of Hacken.
Yes.
Did you play Dragon Age Inquisition? I should ask.
Oh,
that.
absolutely, dude.
Did you play all the DLC?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, this will be spoiler free, but how much of the DLC have you played?
None of it.
None of it. Okay,
my problem was this. Like, I played through Dragon Age Inquisition, finished the story and everything. Semi-spoiler, when you finish the story, like, a lot of, like, when you try to talk to your companion... This is at least the vanilla Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, when you try to talk to your companions, it doesn't go into a dialogue screen. They just kind of have one or two lines they repeat. Like,
they have one line. It's basically, how can I help you, Inquisitor? Goodbye. And I'm like, what?
Nothing pops up. So I was I felt like I was like, well, it just kind of removed like a big chunk of this game. So you know what? I'm going to restart. I'm going to do the right thing. And as with oftentimes like Fallout 4 and SWTOR and KOTOR and all of them, I'll like restart. I'll get a new character. I was like, you know what? Last time I played Rogue, I'm going to be Warrior this time. Then I'll play Warrior for like, a couple days. I'm like, you know what? I've never tried the Mage. So I'm stuck in this rut where I'm like, all right, I have like 18 characters, all 10 hours into the game. I need to just pick one already.
Yeah. But you did beat it though. You have the same issue that I had in that when you beat it, it was like, well, we did it. We saved the world, and all my characters seemingly hate me now because they'll only say the same line over and over again.
Yeah, it felt so empty, and I was like, oh, well, now I don't want to beat the game anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, when you beat that game, there's tons of content left over. It's not like Mass
Yes.
Effect where you literally could do everything before doing the final mission, and that was it was possible. It wasn't in Dragon Age. It's seemingly impossible because there's so much to do, and because all your characters are not talking to you. The thing that always kept me, pulling along in Dragon Age was the fact that at the end of this awkward combat scenario, I get to go talk to my friends, and have a
Right.
conversation and, flirt a little bit, maybe hit some people. It'll be good. And you don't get that in Dragon Age after you finish the main campaign. So when the DLC
Right.
came out, I was kind of like, this is going to be great. And they had a great DLC campaign where they had one come out in March, and then they had one come out in August, and then the final one out in September, which was sort of a quote-unquote epilogue, which so far I have not beat it, but I am thoroughly enjoying. But I'm
Nice.
also seeing the ending from a mile away thanks to Reddit and my my deep dive into the Dragon Age Reddit.
Why
from,
would you do that, Ryan?
Well, because when I originally beat the game, like you can piece together at the end of the main campaign, a certain thing happens to a certain character, and they show
Right.
that scene, and based on if you're deep into Dragon Age lore, you know what that
Yeah.
all means,
Yeah.
and then playing Trespasser DLC, they lay it on pretty thick as to what's happening, and you can kind of be like, oh well, I know what's happening because I know who that character is. Your characters don't know what's going on, but you can certainly feed your character that information through your
Right.
dialogue prompts. I assume. I haven't got that far yet. But I've just been really enjoying it, and if I had to give you a piece of advice, having played through Jaws of Hakken and The Descent, you could probably just go straight to Trespasser. Both of Jaws of Hakan and The Descent have story content, one of which is probably more meaningful for the future Dragon Age titles. The Descent has an ending that certainly applies to future titles, not necessarily Dragon Age Inquisition, but the next Dragon Age.
Right.
So I don't know, like if you want to play through it all, certainly go play through it all. But if someone were to ask me, Ryan, I have Dragon Age Inquisition, I finished the campaign in like December, there's all this DLC, it is constantly going on sale. Right now, if you go to the Origin store, not only can you pick up the Mass Effect trilogy for $15, which I am super tempted by, you can also get all the DLC for like $5 off each. And if you wanted to just experience the next chapter in Dragon Age Inquisition, I would go with Trespasser. But you got to know though, as soon as you start Trespasser, it advances the storyline 2 years, essentially locking you out of all the old content. So it is
Oh.
literally an epilogue in that it is ending the Inquisition story. Not in a cut to black, he died. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but literally, it's just it's fast forwarding the timeline, and because of the way the Inquisition comes together to like form a body of a group of people to solve a problem in a time of need. The Inquisition in Trespasser is like, okay, it's been 2 years. There's peace. What do we do with this giant army that is just sitting there? A lot of people might think, that giant army could invade us anytime. We should probably dismantle it. And that's sort of the setup for Trespasser. It actually starts as like pretty much a G20 summit, where like all these like leaders are there and they're all talking about the future. It's like, well, I don't think you should you should work with us and we should be together and we should merge. And it's like, no, the Inquisition's separate. Like, back off. But I'm really enjoying it, and it's been nice to go back to Dragon Age, but I think I'm ready to put that game down and do something else. Having played through the DLC, it's not as strong as the main campaign, although I have been really enjoying Trespasser, just knowing that it's leading to something more. And if you've
Right.
played past Dragon Age DLCs, which I haven't, I usually don't, Dragon Age 2 had DLC that directly led into Inquisition. We didn't know it at the time, but the main baddie in Inquisition is a baddie in one of the DLC pieces for Dragon Age 2, which is Corythius.
Oh, yeah.
So
Wait, was that 2 or was that the Awakening?
No, it was two. It was literally it was about. I never played it, but I guess it was the DLC where Hawk investigates something about
Oh,
his father.
yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I
They
never
looked
played
the
it.
same. The one
Mhm.
in Awakening looked like that, but not the same one.
It was the same idea in that they were, they were both.
Creepy looking guys with something over their eyes.
Yeah, basically. But I don't know. I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for Dragon Age. Because I just really like that world, and they're setting up some major, just with all like the Descent and now with Trespasser, they're setting up some world changing events, like where history is unfolding in a way that you're understanding, like, oh shit, the world is not what we knew, and we're starting to understand these mysteries from of the Veil and the elves and all that fun stuff. Unlike Mass Effect, where it was like, just hit the reset button, everything's gone. The next game is set tens of thousands of years ago, tens of thousands of light years away, and you're just a cowboy. And
I feel like they're trying to like troll us a little bit with Mass Effect. Like, look, guys, there's no Commander Shepard, but Fen Shep is gonna do some of our voice work for the trailer, and you might see some N7 armor, but there's no Shepard. And we're like, all right, something fishy's going on here.
I think like it's.
First of all, you
think
can't go wrong with Fem Shep
no, you
doing
can't.
any voiceovers. Like,
I would think I'm thinking that it's a new studio doing it within BioWare. I think Andromeda is what they say it is. It's a new world. It's a new map. It's a new cast of characters. But I think Shepard shows up somehow. Like it'll either be as big as he's the AI on your ship, or something as small as you go to a shop and someone has the recording of, I'm Commander Shepard and this is my favorite shop in the Citadel. Because you got to also think like it's tens of thousands of years later, so they say.
that's what they'd say.
I think like he is long gone. Like even if he survived, I think it's long enough that we can say that there are endings out there where it's plausible that he survived with the good ending.
Right.
Maybe they just have some lore there. It's like, yeah, we built a statue. He's long dead, and this is your Commander Shepard, and it allows you to import your save. And if you go to Earth, there's just this giant Shepard statue. It's like, oh,
See what it is you remember the final boss in StarCraft? Oh, I'm sorry, Star Fox, the
Yes.
giant face. Your ship is the face of Commander Shepard.
So you basically fly the Shepard.
Right.
Yeah.
You are the Shepard.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Buzz Aldrin said that. The Shepherd. He's the Shepherd.
There you go. And like your main cannon, the Shepard's mouth starts to open and go like, "This is my favorite weapon on the Shepard," and you just get blasted in the face.
Which is his mouth. Right?
Yeah. Sorry for the spoilers, guys.
Spoilers. Mass Effect Andromeda. The Andromeda, the Lilat
Shepard's
system.
face.
It's like Nintendo gonna sue BioWare for character copy.
Your main enemy is a rabbit, a frog, a falcon, and a
shit.
fox.
Oh shit! Is there gonna be amiibos? Because I need to get me some amiibos.
My name's Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite amiibo on the Tempo.
Yes, Commander Shepard. We're gonna have to move on soon, but I do want to touch on StarCraft II. We've sort of like held off on spoilers. We're doing a spoiler cast at some point in the near future when Jocelyn has had some time to finish it. But
Nice.
we've been playing some co-op.
Yes.
I'm assuming this is what we're going to talk about for like a little bit here.
I've been playing co-op with anybody who will answer yes when I go, "Hey, you want to play co-op?"
It's so fun.
Like my roommate is a huge StarCraft II player, but he was like, "I don't know if I have the money to pick up the latest expansion." So I was like, "Merry Christmas!" And then like a couple days later, I'm like, "So, have you tried that co-op mode yet?" I mean, I have it, you have it, we're both home.
Exactly.
We played it like for 6 hours. It was so much fun.
The co-op is a lot of fun in that you're not just playing against the AI with your friend. You're playing against the AI with your friend, and you have special powers. It's so good. We should probably play after this.
Hey, I'm down.
All right, we'll play a couple matches.
I really love how it's like, I don't know, you're not playing Terran, you're not playing Zerg, you're actually playing a hero, and their units are kind of melded to that.
Yeah. So the way it
So
works is you pick a hero, right?
mhm.
And when we were playing, I was Artanis and you were
Mr.
Jimmy,
Rainer. Yep.
Mr. Jimmy. And it's like in the campaign. It's the easiest way for me to explain it because, like in the campaign, as the Protoss, you get your little strip of powers up above based on your ship, and you basically have like 4 or 5 powers, and you unlock them as you level up this character by completing missions, and then you also get unlocks for your units too.
Yes.
And I think we're just about to hit the level at which we're going to have to bump up the difficulty a little bit. But the concern I haven't had yet, but I'm sure you have had now because you've been playing more than I have. Do you feel like you're doing the same missions over and over again? Because there's only 5 or 6 of them.
Well, yes and no. There are times when we're playing and I'm like, all right, it's this one again. But I found if you change which hero you're playing, it almost feels like a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Because I got Rainer up to, I think, level 12. And with a lot of the stuff that I've unlocked, I'm like, okay, I can automatically drop my reinforcements where I want, and supply depots are built instantly. So it's kind of getting a little easier. So I was like, you know what? Let me change it up. Let me go to the other Terran dude. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And it was like completely different. Like I didn't feel like I was playing the same Terran race because like it plays different, it builds different. So I was like, oh, okay. This is really different, and I suck at it, so we're gonna have to work at this again. And again, playing with different people helps a lot too. Because I played with you, Jimmy, my roommate. Thank you, Jimmy Swan. I played with you, Jimmy, and my roommate, and it's crazy how you guys are all different in your play styles, which has me change my play style depending on who I'm playing with. And it's great. Like, it's fantastic that it seems so simple, but there's so much difference in it every time I play that I'm loving it. And there are maps where I'd be like, oh, it's this map. We're gonna wreck face. Yeah, we got this.
The
But,
trade level.
well, you say that, and then my roommate and I were like, you know what? We're doing pretty good on hard. Let's go brutal.
Oh dear, no.
Oh, brutal
What are you doing?
is rough. We got to the point where I think we were like the last train was coming by and our base was getting demolished, and we were just like, just shoot the train. All we need to do is kill the train. So it's rough on brutal, but that adds that whole different side of, this isn't the same thing. And the fact that it changes the race that you're playing against that's completely random is also something that's cool.
And I think they've already announced. I'm like I said, I'm behind on my podcast, so I'm right at the point where I'm listening to podcasts around the BlizzCon time. So this is actually perfect. So I feel like I'm an expert in BlizzCon news because I'm listening to all those podcasts now. I think they were saying that there's a new hero coming soon, and that co-op missions are something that they're adding. I don't know if for free, but they will be adding at some point. I mentioned last week that I pre-ordered the Nova Pack, which more story content.
Yes.
No brainer. $15 is still pretty. I think $15 is good for, what is it, 9 missions?
Yes.
Overall.
And you get the Nova skin for your ghost if you're playing Terran.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome is that?
And the Nova portrait.
Yep.
Everybody loves those portraits.
Imagine playing against somebody and you like have a bunch of ghosts that are cloaked. You go in their base and you decloak and it's just a bunch of Novas. I'd be like, that's awesome,
cloaked,
and I'm going to die.
Yeah, but if they're cloaked, then you don't get to see your skin.
Well,
and
no. You go into their base cloaked, and then you suddenly decloak, and they're just like, oh my god, there's a bunch of Novas in my base.
And then they call you the 1% because you've purchased that skin.
It's only 15. Come on now.
I know. It's like what, like 3 cups of coffee if you're buying like the super venti vanilla frappa orange spice.
That's 5 monsters. I can live with sparing from 5 monsters.
Just don't drink a monster for the next 5 days. If you have a monster every day, like, probably be healthier to not have a monster every day and buy the Nova Pack. No, I want to look into that. I think them adding more content to the co-op is certainly needed because with 6 missions, I really enjoy it, and if I could, I would play it all the time. And Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that news, but yeah, I'm glad that everybody's into StarCraft 2, and I've really enjoyed the campaign, and anything that feels like campaign after finishing the campaign, I am all for. I have no interest in doing the latter, but I do want to play with my friends, and comp stomps are great, but comp stomps with powers is even better.
Yes.
So, we are going to play that more. Someone should even suggest that for Patreon. But speaking of Patreon, thank you, patrons. This week we're thanking Simon E., new patron of the week. Simon went to patreon.com/thegamersin and helped us out. Patreon allows this show to do, extra fun things like game night or hangouts or our next milestone, which I think we sort of hover in and around, which is a game of the month, where you, the patrons, get to suggest a game that Jocelyn and I cover for the month. So, hey, it'll be fun. But no, we're going to move into our topic of the week, and I sort of just grabbed a bunch of stuff. We'll see what sticks. We'll move through these pretty quickly because we don't want the show to be extra long. But out of that list, or maybe not even on that list, what has been tickling the keyboard? You know what? That's bad. I'm not going to say that. I already did. What's been keeping you thinking this week in terms of video game news? Anything out of that list or anything else that comes up?
Well, I mean, real quick, the Overwatch news that heroes and maps will be free. I think when you announced the game is going to cost, what was it, $40, $60, something like that?
40 for the base edition, 60 for the hey, here's some skins edition.
Yeah, I think when you announced that you're going to be dropping $40 for the game, you kind of have to go, okay, heroes and maps are not going to be additional costs.
Yeah,
I think you have to choose either or on that one.
I mean, you look at what happened to Evolve and how there was just so much hype, and then it was a paid $60 game, and there was a season pass, and there was a whole bunch of extra DLC. You just look at what happened to Evolve, and I think Blizzard could do what Evolve did and still succeed, but Blizzard isn't really in the fashion of totally flipping the bird to the gamers. They want to make a great product, and they want to have a great experience. And with Overwatch and the fact that you are constantly switching heroes, by not giving those heroes as a full package or as free updates later on, you're kind of putting some players at a disadvantage. So It makes sense to make them free. Maps as well as, I think, an added bonus that maps are free, because really you could probably do a map pack and get away with it. But it's really cool that they're keeping, that seems to be the trend now, keeping the online community together with free DLC and then supporting that in other ways. So I think this is pretty much a guarantee that we're going to get lots of cool skins for our heroes going forward.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the skins you'll pay for. Because when I heard the news, I thought it was kind of like how Smite played out. Because Smite is a pretty good test run for anybody doing MOBAs, to where you have two options. You charge them for the game and you give them everything, exception of skins. Excuse me. Or you let them, pay for only what they want. And Smite kind of did that with their God Pack. Whereas with Overwatch, they're saying, you know what? You're going to pay for the God Pack, but just trust us that we're going to give you all the heroes.
Well, I think Smite sort of did that as well, because I remember when we started playing Smite, it was like, oh, the God Pack, some people are saying, oh, it's a limited time, like it's only around for a bit. I think they just pretty much threw in the towel with Smite and said, you know what? I think we're fine just giving away our heroes as part of the God Pack. And it's just like, here's your new heroes. Now, you can buy gods individually, but you're better off, if you like the game, just throwing $30 at it and being like, okay, now I can play everything and anybody that comes out. And, if you see a skin that you like, then you pick it up. And that happens more than you think, because when you forget you spent $30 on a game 2 years ago, it's like,
we don't need to talk about last year's Odyssey.
Yeah, I did that, and I'm like, okay, I did it. I said I now I can say I've done it, and I'm not going to do it again. I haven't touched the Odyssey this year.
Which sucks, because the Odyssey skin that you get for... You know what? No, we're not going to say Overwatch.
Wait. So what is the Odyssey skin for Season 2? You got to tell me now.
It's Thor, and he's drawn kind of like an anime character, and as you level up, he goes from just a mech pilot-looking dude into an actual mech. So it is. Yeah, I know
But
it's
it's
pretty
Thor,
awesome,
though.
but
Well,
yeah.
we're not gonna play Thor. That's not
Well,
happening.
I have fun with Thor. But yeah, but I think
You like
Overwatch is
this
pretty
year.
much, yeah, they're saying, you know what? Our promise to you is that if you drop this money on our game, we will give you the heroes in the future.
And I mean,
So,
Blizzard's proven time and time again that their Blizzard customers are willing to give money to Blizzard for
yes.
things that other companies would be like, no, we are not going to give you money for horse armor. I think if you really like a hero in Overwatch and you want that hero to look different every once in a while, I think it's great that you're going to be able to. I mean, they haven't announced this yet. This is all assumptions, but I mean, it's a pretty safe bet.
Yes.
Did you
So what
watch the
about
Game Awards?
I did not.
You didn't watch the Game Awards. Well, you missed. I like the Game Awards. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the idea of rewarding people for their accomplishments in a year where making games is hard, man. It's
Yes.
nice. It's nice to give back.
Yeah, I took a year studying game development, and yeah, no, it is no easy feat
No, it's
making a
not.
video game. So
But you may not have watched the Game Awards, but I'm certain that you saw a lot of the announcements that came out of the Game Awards, right?
yes.
Yeah. What was your favorite to come out of the Game Awards?
Well, I mean, I feel like you kind of put it in the notes.
Oh,
For me, the interesting most one was definitely the Batman Telltale game.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Telltale's been tackling a lot of things lately,
Yeah.
and this one kind of felt like it was came from nowhere. Like people were saying that about Game of Thrones, but when you really think about it, Game of Thrones is a really story-rich thing, and then they did Borderlands, and I was like, okay.
Borderlands was a
But
big surprise. Minecraft as well.
well, Minecraft being a video game within itself,
That's true.
I felt like was like, it was kind of there. But like Batman? Like what?
I
Like
think-
we know the story of Batman. What can you tell us that
Well, I think a lot of people, when it comes to Batman, first and foremost, like Telltale. I mean, this is the first year where Telltale's come out with a game with a property that I really enjoy, and I have yet to finish or play through all the episodes as they come out, which is just pretty new for me. I mean, Game of Thrones is sitting unfinished, Tales from the Borderlands sitting unfinished, same with Minecraft. And it's just like, I might be over the Telltale formula unless they come up with something truly interesting. And when it comes to Batman, I think a lot of people's mindsets are sort of thrown away from seeing this working because Batman's just worked so well in the Arkham series.
right?
And I love the detective type stuff in the Arkham series. And I think Telltale could really play with that in a really cool way within their game.
And that's the thing. Like there's one avenue of Batman games that really hasn't been explored on, and that is, Batman is a detective. Like he's a very intelligent guy who's, very thoughtful, and that part of it you don't see that in video games. So with Arkham they had it a bit, but then you just got to punch a bunch of guys. It was kind of cool. You drove around the Batmobile, flew through the sky. So it had additional stuff, whereas Telltale can really capitalize on that. Just so you guys know, this guy's not all punches and batarangs. He's got something ticking upstairs.
But the other thing too is Telltale. Like we mentioned, they have a lot of properties going on, and they've got Michonne's Walking Dead launching, which was another Game Awards sort of. And they got another trailer for it. That's launching in February, and also Telltale's got their original IP they're working on with a TV studio. And Marvel. They're working on a Marvel project. So they got Marvel and Batman. I mean, it's not unheard of for a company to be working on opposing franchises, but I just think it's interesting. It's kind of like they're really excited. I think they're really excited to work on these IPs. So it's really cool to see them tackling games. Like Batman's kind of like on par with their Borderlands work and their Minecraft work, where it's like, really, you're going to do Minecraft? You're going to do Tales from the Borderlands? I can't see that working because it works so well in its original format, right?
Right.
So I'm cautiously optimistic, but I am kind of I need a break from Telltale games, and
Yes.
if we get a teaser trailer every year from them and then like 2 or 3 releases a year, it's kind of like, come on, guys, just like
it almost starts to feel like Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed-ish, where it's like, oh, every year this is a new Telltale, and it's like, but the last episode for the past 2 you made haven't come out, but you're releasing episode 1 of the new. Wait, what episode on what game am I on again? So
they're sort of they tend to overlap their franchises as well, where Borderlands and Game of Thrones were coming out. One was coming out, and then next month another one would come out. Minecraft, they've sort of done better, where they're releasing a new episode each month. That's actually episodic, where they've kind of cooked it long enough that they can successfully release them every month or so. But the other big thing to come out of the Game Awards was Psychonauts 2, which is currently being, what do you call it? Figged? Figged. We'll call it figged, because I mean, if we call something on Kickstarter, it's being kickstarted, then I guess we have to call something that's on figged. So it's looking for a $3.3 million goal, and it's already at $2.2 million in just under a week. And this is not news. I mean, Double Fine's been trying to make Psychonauts 2. They've been talking about it for a long time, and it was bound to happen eventually. The trailer really threw us for a loop. We thought it was a new Call of Duty or something, until they mentioned the subconscious of a comatose little girl. I don't know. I know a lot of people, a lot of naysayers out there who love to latch on to good things and just shake them consistently like an evil dog would until they stop moving.
What?
I don't know. I'm just trying to describe Reddit, like
getting a little dark.
I know. It's very dark, but you know what I mean. Like, just some gamers don't see the positivity. Like, there's enough negativity out there, like enough negative things that pop up that let's all focus on that. That's negative, but something that's positive, like Double Fine's making Psychonauts 2. They've unveiled everything they need to do, and as much praise that I've seen this sort of dark cloud. It's like, oh, another ask for money thing. And it's like, games ain't cheap. And if a developer has the ability to work with fans to fund a game, I think go for it.
And what's like very curious is like 3.3 million to make a game is like for
nothing.
Yeah, to launch it on PlayStation 4, like that graphics engines and whatnot, 3.3 is actually pretty cheap. So
yeah, and I mean,
I think it helps because like you don't have to pay like publishers all this money or get all this ad revenue going. I think going directly to gamers is a cheaper way to do it. And honestly, if you can do it for 3.3 million on Psychonauts 2, then hey, I say go for it.
I just think that I really don't like seeing negativity. Like, there's enough negative things in video games that those people who want to be negative tackle the really important negative issues. But Double Fine using a system that allows gamers to get the game that they want, that a publisher would not back. Now, they have a silent partner. They've kind of outlined how they're going to fund it, and that it's 1/3 Fig, 1/3 silent partner, and 1/3 Double Fine. And I mean, if you're looking at kickstarted games and you want to look at a good track record, Double Fine's done 2 of them. So at least if you're backing this, like, you're going to get something for it. So they've been good on that front, and they've taken a lot of flack, and they've learned a lot going forward. And I think if you are opposed to Psychonauts 2 on Fig, then just don't back it.
Right. That's the best part. It's like, hey, they're crowdfunding this. I don't like it. Okay, well, that's cool too. You can just go away.
Yeah, but
you don't have to, like, you can erase this from your browser history if you're that passionate about it. You don't.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, that's all you have to do is just be like, no.
Exactly.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a nice day.
Yeah.
Why, thank you for being professional about it.
Wow. You're describing the gentleman's internet.
Right?
Why, good sir, I challenge you to a duel over Psychonauts 2. Internet slap.
You hot slapped me with your internet.
How dare you use that?
Can we do a
fiber?
podcast story where we just do these voices? Good day, sir.
Good day. I mean, why you gotta shit on everybody's parade, right? Like,
Right?
it's
Yeah, no.
is that a saying? It is now.
I think
just,
rain, but I guess shitting on it's
evidently
that
you've never
too.
read Reddit comments, so there's
No, I don't do Reddit.
don't do
so.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost as bad as it's not as bad as YouTube. At least on Reddit they can form like complete sentences, and I'm talking literally about just the trolls. Like there are some great people on Reddit, but occasionally I'll come across that comment that's like,
You're just gonna make the entire internet upset.
Well,
And like you're just
if it gets them
you're
off,
asking for it, man.
I know.
You're asking.
I love Reddit, and I use Reddit for a lot of great things like amiibo hunting and Dragon Age fanfics. I guess I don't know, fan theories. I should say. I don't read fan fiction. Not that there's anything wrong with fan fiction. Throwing it out there.
Well, now you've gone and upset all the fanfic people.
Anyways, no, I like Reddit. I just don't like some of the people. I've had to unsub from subreddits that I, would like to look at, because some commenters just are all over it, and it's like, I don't need this negativity.
Yeah.
Finally, the other big news that came out of the PlayStation Experience last week, and Final Fantasy VII, we got our gameplay trailer. Does that not look fantastic to you?
It looks great.
I've never played. I've never played Final Fantasy VII. Have you?
Yes.
Okay. See, This is the night of I've never played X, and you say yes, I have. But I look at this. It's being done in Unreal Engine 4. The gameplay looks really cool. They're moving past the turn-based gameplay and doing a real-time system. Which, come on, it's 2015. I love my turn-based games, but Square's not done turn-based in a mainline or Final Fantasy in a very long time.
Yeah. I think it would have been kind of cool to stick to turn-based, but I can see why they're doing this. So I'll let that part slide. We're cool on that.
I wonder if they'll have segments of the game that have turn-based combat, because they have said that they're actually splitting the Final Fantasy VII remake into multiple segments.
Yes.
A lot of people see that and think, "Oh my God, it's going to be like Telltale, and it's going to like switch it up as soon as you get to it's going to be like Telltale where you'll play like 2 hours and then it'll stop." It's like, no, they're literally releasing in segments. I never played Final Fantasy VII, but I'm sure there are like moments where you can like, okay, this part of the world is part 1. Would that work?
It's kind of funny. I believe Final Fantasy, I don't know if it was 7 or 8, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
On the original PlayStation copy was actually multi-disc for the very reason that these guys are saying, hey, we need several installments. Like the game was like literally too big to fit on one disc. So I think what they're doing here is something similar. Like this game is going to be, the graphics engine is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Anybody who's played Final Fantasy VII knows that the story is long and great. And they're just saying, look, this is going to be like balls to the wall awesome. Problem is, that is a lot of hard drive space. So we're going to give it to you, X amount of gigabytes at a time. It's going to come in 5 separate blocks. Do with it what you will. So I think that's kind of how they're going. A lot of people are like, oh, it's episodic. I'm like, is it though?
It's not. Yeah, they didn't.
Did they really go? Episode 1 comes out in January. Bet you can't wait for episode 3 in March. It's
not like episodes where it's not like a Telltale game. It'll be more like. It'll be more like the movies do this a lot. It's like, it's Harry Potter 7 Part 2. It's like, that's what it'll be like. It's one cohesive story that is segmented because they've said they want to remake all of Final Fantasy VII. They want to take the entirety of Final Fantasy VII and remake it for the fans. And to do that, they need to compartmentalize it and go at it in chunks. And let's face it, if they do it in segments, that means we're going to get this part 1 sooner, like this year. Well, not this year, 2016. Yes. That's the silver lining here. And we've been waiting how long for it? And if we can get part 1 in 2016, like That's pretty
Now that I
stellar.
think about it, wouldn't StarCraft II be the perfect example as to what's going on here? Because the same thing happened to StarCraft II, where it was like, we've been waiting for StarCraft II for, over a decade. Then they come out and tell us, oh, well, it's going to be split in three, and the whole internet went nuts. And then suddenly we realized, you know what? That Wings of Liberty campaign was well thought out. It was well played. It looked beautiful. We got a chance to play with all these cool units. Then, like a year later, Heart of the Swarm, again, beautiful campaign. The story's awesome. So I think StarCraft 2, I think, is an example
Oh,
of
that's a great
where, you know
example.
what? Maybe splitting it up gives the developers the ability to take that game we all loved in Final Fantasy VII, put it onto a updated, Unreal 4 engine without cutting anything out at all, and if not adding more into it, like
Yeah.
the screenshot on Polygon is Cloud running through this beautifully crafted city. And to be honest, if you go back and play Final Fantasy VII right now, there was no beautifully crafted city that looks anything like this.
Well,
So,
yeah, you're jumping several generations, so nothing's
right.
going to look the same except for, oh, I recognize Cloud because that's what the cutscenes kind of look like. And, a lot of people in the chat or a lot of people in the comments are commenting on like, this is how they make more money. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's a big game. And a lot of people are saying, well, The Witcher 3 is a big game. And it's like, well, that's also true. But I don't know. There's a lot of comments that can be made. And I think StarCraft 2 is a good example. Some people were having this conversation on Twitter. I think I saw it. And, the value proposition of splitting a game in three and paying $40 for each entry, that it adds up. And when you really think about it, that's like $150 of game that you played over the course of five years. Do I feel like each StarCraft was worth playing and worth paying that amount of money? I think so.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that, if I think back, oh, I spent $120 on StarCraft 2, do I feel like I got my money's worth? Absolutely. Because I didn't spend $120. I spent 3 installments of $40. And that's time in between each installment to really enjoy a $40 game.
And if
Now,
you really think about it, if you wait until it's all out, like look at StarCraft. If you waited until Legacy of the Void came out and you were so dead set on buying that game as a complete package, you could have got it for $60 because
yep.
I think Legacy of the Void or Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm were $10 each, and Legacy of the Void was $40. So essentially, if you waited 5 years for the whole product, if that was your thing, if it's like I want to play the whole game and I want to pay standard price, well, guess what? Blizzard gave you that option. You had to wait 5 years, which is unfortunate, but and the same thing will happen with Final Fantasy VII. If you want to wait the 5 years for them to release the whole thing, you'll be able to buy it at a standard price, I'm sure. But for those who want it right now and want that chunk of gameplay right away, it looks awesome. And some of us who may just want to try Final Fantasy VII, might not want to completely do it all, they'll just get that first package. I don't know. Again, this is another episode of people just reacting negatively because that's the first thing that pops into their head. And to me, it's like, hey, guess what? They're finally making that Final Fantasy VII remake you've all been crying for. Let them do it. Let them do what they think is right.
And it's like so early for anyone to even be assuming anything. Like all they said is like, hey, we're going to need multiple installments. What episode? I'm like, whoa. Guys, he said one thing.
Yeah.
And this is probably like 2 years down the road before we're going to be starting to see some actual gameplay footage. So
well, that was gameplay footage. It was pretty.
Well, I mean, like someone's on stage for like an hour going. Well, then again, I mean that's how. What's that space one PlayStation 4 everybody loved? No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, yeah.
Yeah, where did that one go?
They basically like, hey, we're not going to show it anymore because it's coming out in June. You guys are going crazy because it's not out yet. I think when it comes to Final Fantasy VII, I was surprised how far along the game is, having seen like a CG intro at E3, and now 6 months later we've got like gameplay. I guess 6 months is enough to get the engine running and stuff, but Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think people, like I said, there's a lot of bad things in gaming these days. Maybe focus on those. This is some positive news. Although, let's see what the pricing model is. They haven't announced it yet. We're all just assuming the worst. I probably think each entry, like Square Enix is known for not budgeting their titles, and I'm sure that they will charge you $60 for part one. I'm with you guys on that one. I think they will, but I don't know. Let's wait and see. There's lots of stuff to keep us busy in the meantime, so there's no rush. But that's going to do it for our topic. Just a smattering of awesome news as we get into the tail end of 2015. And speaking of which, we got some upcoming TGI events, including Game Night tomorrow, 8 p.m., brought to you by the patrons. And if you're a patron, you can go and suggest a game for us to play. The post is up, linking it in the chat room. If you're listening to the podcast, you can also find the link in the notes. And certainly go and suggest it. It's every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. This week will be twitch.tv/thegamersin, as Jocelyn is traveling. And next week we have our patron hangout, and that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, and you can be a patron and hang out and ask questions and come in on the show and talk to us. Also, Extra Life was on November 14th, and if you missed your chance to donate, don't worry, you can still do so until the end of December. We raised over $2,600 for charity, and you can help us out even further by going to bit.ly/TGI 2015, TGI all caps. Whew, Josh, thank you. Good episode. Lots of great discussions about parades and Reddit and Starcraft. Bad parades. Good parades, bad parades, all kinds of fun stuff.
Good parades gone bad, I believe is.
Yeah, that's probably what we'll name this show. Good what was it? Good parades gone bad?
Yes. Though people might take that in a whole nother way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe we won't use that.
Yeah, you know what? Let's throw some things against the wall and see.
Yeah, we'll get back to on everybody when we we'll check the Reddits, we'll check the subreddits, and we'll see what they suggest. There's probably a really bad subreddit with that title.
We don't need to look that up.
We don't want to look that up. That's not safe for work. So Josh, where can the fine listeners find you?
You can find me on the Twitters. I am the _JDC. I'm also at the Aniki Gaming. The Aniki Gaming is my cool little project that I do alongside Mr. Evan Ottaway. You can find him at Evan Ottaway. Mm-hmm. He's my Australian co-host for the podcast. We may be looking to kick back up soon. Also, I don't know. We have 8 Bits of Velvet. She usually helps me on game night. She is Lizzie, in case you guys have ever watched her.
She was on the show like 2 episodes ago. You and Lizzie.
Yes, that was.
We talked about Star Wars.
Yes, she's awesome. Have a lot of fun with her on game nights. So yeah, come follow us. We like to have a lot of fun. And anytime we're playing games, when you see us live stream, feel free to be like, hey, can I jump in? By all means. If we got room, come on in.
Yeah.
We like to have fun.
That's awesome, man. That's really good to hear that you're spinning that bad boy back up, because
yes,
I like me some Aniki Gaming. Awesome stuff. Thank you once again for filling in. This has been a great episode. We got to talk about a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of great things, and I think it might be time to talk about StarCraft. But before that, we should probably end the show before we go talk more about StarCraft. So we have different timelines for the Gamers Inn until January. We're actually going to keep the Wednesday at 9 p.m. segment until the end of December, just due to some holidays and some A-Move scheduling with Into the Nexus. Turns out Thursdays, pretty busy in December. You got you got Star Wars The Force Awakens. Let's start with the most important one. The midnight openings on Thursday. I think a few people have midnight showings. And then the Thursday after that is Christmas. And then the Thursday after that is New Year's Eve. So we've moved Into the Nexus to Wednesdays, I think at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Gamers Inn will follow that up at 9 p.m. But if you want more details, just go to amove.tv/calendar for all the fun stuff. You can also visit us on the web at gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on amove.tv along with other fabulous podcasts, including The Angry Nerd, Into the Nexus, Overwatchers, and The Angry Chicken. losing my voice here. That eggnog, it's coming back. I should have drank water. It's a trap. Follow us on Twitter. It's a trap. Speaking of Star Wars, I did get tickets. I'm going to go see it on Sunday after release, so
Nice.
that may have just been an invite for everybody to tweet me spoilers. Don't do that, everybody. You can find Jocelyn at Joss Plays. Wish her a feel better. That's not right. Wish her well. She's not feeling so hot, so certainly send her some get well soon tweets. You can follow myself at rmurphy. Do not tweet Star Wars spoilers. Thank you. Follow Josh at @_JDC, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/amovetv. You can also find the show on Facebook and Google+, if you still like torture. Email the show, info@gamersinpodcast.com, and tell me why you were using Facebook and Google+, and no Star Wars spoilers.
Murphy says.
Yeah, you can also
that should be the things R. Murphy says.
You could also do that. You could do that.
Yes.
But anyways, thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic evening. We are out. Good night.
Good night.